Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You would expect a border state congressman to have a good handle on the implications of sanctuary jurisdictions. And Representative Brandon Gill did, member of the House Oversight Committee, as I mentioned. This was in pertinent part, his exchange with our mayor there, BLM Brandon. Take a listen.
First of all, do you support allowing illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses? Just yes or no?
Yeah. I'll answer it.
So the city of Chicago has been a welcoming city for over 40 years.
I'll take that as a yes. Next question.
And that's the policy that we will hold to.
Do you support tax dollars subsidizing or paying for the health care of illegal aliens?
I support investments in all residents of the people of Chicago, and that's what I do.
That's a yes as well. Do you support free or reduced college for illegal aliens?
Again, I support the investments of all residents of the people of Chicago.
Take that as a yes. Next question. Do you support allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections?
Again, I'm not over the jurisdiction of that type of law, but again, I'm committed to investing in all residents of the people of Chicago.
I'll take that as a yes. I've got an article from the Chicago Sun-Times, and I'll quote here briefly. Johnson proposed, among other things, that all residents, regardless of citizenship status, be able to vote for Chicago Board of Education members. Next question.
That's how you do it. Establish the particulars about what being a sanctuary city politician means, what benefits you are conferring to people in this country illegally, and at whose cost. Brandon Gill joins us now. He is a congressman from Texas's 26th Congressional District and, as I said, member of the House Oversight Committee, as you just heard. Representative Gill, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Nicely done. This is the point to illustrate what the implications are, and this is the way you bring people around a better understanding of what this lawlessness at the local level entails.
That's exactly right. I mean, remember our fiscal state. We're at $37 trillion in debt. We're running $2 trillion annual deficits, and our children's national inheritance is being plundered by idiot politicians like that Chicago mayor who want to provide welfare, college benefits, driver's licenses, abortions, all to illegal aliens on taxpayer dollars. I mean, this is so nonsensical and so contrary to common sense and to our national interest. So what I wanted to do in this questioning was to put this guy on the spot. Remember, they're under oath, so he can't lie to me. And make them answer for what they're doing and make them explain to the American people very clearly and candidly what they're actually doing with your tax dollars. And as we saw, it's unfathomably egregious.
Well, do you think that you change? I mean, I watched part of it, went on for hours, but do you think that what happened yesterday changed any of their minds, any of those four mayors' positioning on what they were doing with sanctuary cities?
You know, I don't expect it to change any of their minds. I think that as you could see in the questioning, these people are so ideologically dug in. Mm-hmm. They are so committed to not only giving your tax dollars to illegal aliens, but to harboring criminal illegal aliens in their cities, keeping them from federal law enforcement intentionally, or, as you mentioned, not coordinating with law enforcement and releasing aliens onto the street to terrorize and murder and rape American citizens. And that's exactly what's been happening in their cities. These people are making our country less safe, less secure every single day through an outright refusal to uphold our rule of law. It's disgusting. It is completely illegal. We saw some criminal referrals from my colleague Anna Paulina Luna yesterday, and it's definitely warranted here. I mean, these mayors are going out of their way to make our cities less safe.
Well, I love we comply with federal law by just turning a blind eye to people in our city who are in this country illegally who commit crimes. We just, as I said, we don't harbor them. We just release them. I mean, they didn't say it in those words, but that's essentially what it is, which is sort of not exactly complying with the spirit of the law, but even beyond the possibility of prosecution. That seems to me the real value of bringing those four before the House Oversight Committee yesterday. particularly the contrast between sort of Eric Adams' forthcoming nature versus the others, is to send a message to mayors and their constituents around the country that you don't want to be in a position of these sanctuary city mayors where you have to publicly disclose what you've done and what you actually believe, because it is going to turn out to be very much at odds with a great percentage of your constituents, particularly on the center left, particularly lower to middle income constituents in big cities. And it's one of the reasons we saw such attrition for the Democrats with respect to, for example, Latinos and blacks who disproportionately live in major metropolitan areas.
Well, that's right. And remember, this past election cycle was about, more than anything, I think, secure borders, but also common sense. And whenever we're talking about either what our southern border should look like, the border security there, or whether major metropolitan cities across our country should comply with federal law and work with federal law enforcement to take criminal illegal aliens off the streets, this is an 80-20 issue for Republicans. I mean, most Democrats agree with us on this. If you have a Venezuelan illegal alien gang member who is terrorizing the streets of Chicago, he needs to be taken off. Most normal, common sense people agree with that, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. And what you saw yesterday, and you could see this in my line of questioning, is they know this, and they go out of their way to obfuscate what they really believe.
Well,
they don't want to very clearly say, yes, we actually do, in fact, want to keep these people on the streets.
The great irony, too, and Brandon Johnson trying to hide behind Greg Abbott. You know, Greg Abbott imposed this problem on us. It's a problem that he welcomed, and it's a problem that has subsided because of secure borders now. But if the borders weren't secure and Greg Abbott was still busing people who want to come to Chicago, Brandon Johnson would be welcoming them. I mean, he doesn't. It is Greg Abbott that wants secure borders so that Chicago doesn't have an ongoing influx of people in this country illegally. Brandon Johnson's position is just the opposite. He's sad that Greg Abbott isn't sending the buses anymore.
That's exactly right. You know, my colleague Scott Perry had a very interesting question yesterday. He said, you guys are sanctuary cities. What does that mean? You're sanctuaries from what? And the answer is federal law enforcement. And the reality is, whenever you tell the rest of the world that you will not uphold federal law, you are, of course, going to have criminals flooding into your streets because you're telling them you're not going to deport them. They know that their city is criminal aliens, know that these major metropolitan cities are sanctuaries for them and for their criminal activity. So, you know, it makes you wonder what is really going on here. I mean, how can somebody truly think that this is a way to allow their city to thrive? One of the things I was asking Mayor Johnson last night is about the number of gifts that he's received. He's got a gift room in Chicago.
We know
that. Yep. Oh, that he has not let the Office of Inspector General or the American public access. Now, he couldn't answer yesterday who some of these gifts came from. And we're talking about, Gucci shoes and fancy cufflinks and Mont Blanc pins and things like that.
Representative Gill,
he wouldn't tell us who gave them to him.
Yeah, we know it. Representative Gill, Congressman from Texas's 26, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Having me.
He joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line. It is now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's a really difficult